Hey there, and welcome back to my random ass soul level 1 playthrough of Dark Souls 3. Last time we finished Undead Settlement and stuff, and reached the beginning of the Road of Sacrifices, so that's what we're going to go ahead and do today, starting by of course murdering this guy, and also this one with a funny plunge attack. There you go. So the beginning is pretty straightforward. I'm just taking my time to kill all the enemies around because I'm a genocidal maniac once again. There you go, another one bites the dust. Take the time to go over this cart to grab the souls and drop down a little further ahead before proceeding to beat up a half-naked lady. At least I think she's a lady, don't quote me on that because I don't know the lore, I just play the game, what can I say? Well, there you go, dead. So before I keep moving on, I'm gonna drop down here, then go below the bridge to pick up a very important item. But first and foremost, I have to fight my way through both of these dogs. And I was waiting for them to come at me, but it took a sweet ass time. And I end up getting guard broken because I was blocking with my sword too much. But there you go, I killed both dogs, which was a little sloppy, but it worked out, so that's all that matters. Grab the Morn's Ring, which I don't care about, but grab the Brill Divine Tome, which I do care about. So now I've arrived at the second bonfire, but before I go ahead and light it, I'm gonna have a talk with Henri, but I'm gonna skip all of our dialogue as always, and I'm gonna get the Blue Sentinel's Covenant, which, who cares? Bonfire lit, thank you. So now I'm gonna head back to Firelink, because there's something I need to do over there real quick. Which is not talk to her, but I will talk to her because I need to for request, I think. Otherwise it doesn't hurt, and before I actually go ahead and do what I'm supposed to do, I'm going to get lost a little bit. Before going ahead to Miracle Lady to give her the Divine Tome, which I found like 2 minutes ago. I'm gonna use it to buy Tears of Denial, which will see some use eventually, but not for now. Also, that thing is expensive, goodness. So now that that's done, I'm gonna head back to Road of Sacrifices, where I'm gonna drop down these little steps, kind of, and pick up this soul item right over here. I'm also gonna head down and kill all the mushrooms that I can see all over the place, as well as those two guys with these giant wooden crosses on their back, making sure to have one of them hit me, because it's funnier that way, before I challenge the Black Knight. So I think this should be pretty easy. I'll just have to make sure I land all of my parries, just like that. See, everything will be fine. Oh. Yeah, alright, that's enough of that. So after getting walloped, I decided it was time to go ahead and start actually moving on with the stage, but first and foremost I have to suck terribly. Also, I'm going to drop on this dog's head and plunge attack the hell out of him before killing this guy, picking up a Titanite shard. And I'm also going to kill him because he tries to intervene in my business, and this guy gives me a spike. How nice of him. So a little further ahead, as I'm about to go ahead and pick up all the stuff that lays around here, I notice a couple of shrooms coming after me, so I go ahead and take care of them, of course. Pick up another Titanite shard and drop down here to plunge attack those 3-4 mushrooms, and kill the remainder of them for another Titanite shard before heading on to the other bonfire. So now that I've claimed my bonfire, I'm going to go ahead and use an ember, because there's something quote-unquote important that I want to do around here. You can see it appear right there. It's a Mad Phantom, which, as it happens, is Mr. Hodrick, the same one from the previous stage. You didn't get to see me fight him that time, but you will get to see me fight him this time, and I'm sure everything will be perfectly fine. Gonna be one of those days, huh? So after coming to terms with the fact that I am absolute trash at this game, I decide I'm going to go ahead and move on for real. So I kill these two guys and drop down here to pick up the Estus shard, which is one of the only important items around here. Also, December around here is pretty nice, and so are these souls over here. Now it's time to go ahead and loot the swamp for all it's worth. So after disposing of Mr. Crab, I go ahead and pick up the only thing that's really worth picking up around here, which is the Grass Crest Shield. And I'm going to go ahead and fight the Farron watchdog guys. I think that's what they are. So I threw a firebomb to aggro this guy first, because I want to fight them one at a time, otherwise it's going to be an absolute mess. So I begin the fight, and very quickly I noticed that something is wrong. So I'm not going to show everything because, well, I basically just spent 2 minutes running around in circles, getting slapped by a giant sword while slapping them with my dainty ass sword. It was basically just one big war of attrition, and it really took way longer than it should have just because this guy decided to get in the way, but, well, as you can see here, soon enough actually, I eventually managed to kill him, and now it was just a 1v1 between me and the guy with the club, which, well, aside from getting slapped to the ground there, it wasn't so bad because, well, he started to heal for some reason, but it's slow as shit, so I'm just going to whack him for it, and eventually he's going to die pretty soon here. There we go, tries to heal again like an idiot, failed the backstab, but kill him anyway, so it doesn't matter. Also loot their corpse, because that's very important. So now I'm going to head towards Fair and Key, but first I gotta pick up the 2 Homeward Bones that are right over here. Now it's time to go down the ladder. This very long ass ladder, but I'm not going to head into Fair and Keep just yet. I'm just gonna take the bonfire so I can warp back here if I need to later. So now I'm just warping back to the previous bonfire, the one right by the swamp, and I'm going to go ahead and head into the ruins, which is the way forward for real. And I'm going to take this time to get slapped a couple of times, but also kill this sorcerer guy as well as all his friends because they're assholes. I'm also going to head up the stairs before I proceed to Mr. Sorcerer right over here, and I'm going to ask him for his help just in case I want spook later on or something. Except I'm going to bail out of the conversation like an idiot before heading back in, pretending to actually care this time around, except no, I don't, and I'm just going to skip through all of it. So now I'm going to head on to the other side of the room to pick up some blue bug pellets, which I didn't use because I kind of forgot they were a thing, but oh well. I also went ahead and plunged attacked this guy before slapping this one, and this guy gives me a staff, which, well, I might use at some point, but who knows. Afterwards, I spent a few minutes of my time killing all of these guys just for shits and giggles because I'm an asshole like that. I also got slapped around a bit, but it was no big deal, so who cares, right? So now it's actually time to go ahead and fight the boss, and I'm going to use an ember just because I don't want to die like some doofus. I'm also going to equip some throwing knives as well as the leftover gold pine resin I got in the high wall of Lothric. So we're just going to head into the fight, and I'm going to use the pine resin right as he spawns. So afterwards I'm just going to immediately run up to him and start whacking him, and he decides to spawn the crystal soul masses all over him. Which, fun fact, while they're out he can't actually teleport, so I just use this time to smack him a few times, which as you can see, he's teleported for the first time and he's basically already dead, which is a little anticlimactic, but I guess so were the other fights before. So I start using throwing knives during the second phase to dispatch the fake ones pretty quickly, and then once I finally spot the real one, I just go ahead and bash him some more because he did the crystal masters again, and he couldn't teleport still, so there you go, he's dead already. That was a single teleport. Probably the easiest fight I've had so far, which is saying a lot considering how bad the other ones did as well. So after lighting the bonfire and taking a quick break, I'm going to travel back to Firelink Shrine because, well, I have a ton of souls right now and it'd be a shame to lose them all, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a bit of impulsive spending around here just so I don't lose them all. So first things first, I'm going to take a trip to the Shrine Maiden and basically sell all of the soul items I picked up. Except for that one over there that's worth 200, I kind of forgot about it for some reason. And now I'm going to go ahead and spend a whole lot of souls on random items, including some charcoal pine resin, the 3 human pine resin I can buy for now. I might use them against the boss later on. And also a couple of fire bombs because, well, they're always handy to have around. So now I'll go ahead and see Grey Rat because he's returned from his trip from wherever it is I sent him, and he has some new stuff to buy, so I'll buy all 4 embers, the 6 lightning urns, and also every piece of the knight's armor except for the helmet, because I want to keep my silly ass hood. So I spent way too long accidentally comparing the knight set with the sellsword armor, which is not what I'm wearing, but I eventually decide I'm going to equip the knight's armor instead, and I also go ahead and equip the knight's gloves and the pants, so maybe that'll help me survive a little better, who knows. So with my new drip in tow, I'm going to head on to Andre to give him the coal I stole from the Black Knight, which I didn't kill, and also reinforce my Estus flask with the Estus shard I picked up somewhere before leaving him to his job. So with my trip to Firelink over, I'm going to check if I have an undead bone shard first and foremost, which I don't, before going back to Road of Sacrifices at the Crystal Sage bonfire so I can move on towards the cathedral before I end this video for good. So on the way to the cathedral, there's a couple of things I want to grab while I'm there. The first and least of which is the Twinkling Titanite from these two bugs, which is completely pointless because I'm not going to use any weapons that is reinforced with Twinkling Titanite. So now I've reached this point where there's a couple of guys with cages wandering around down there, as well as a big lady, so I start throwing knives all over the place to try and get his attention to get him over to me quicker, but well, he kinda doesn't want to, so instead I just end up waiting for him, but I do throw a throwing knife at his face right about here. There you go, just to get him to hurry his ass up before plunging attack. So after plunging attack him, I started just whacking him with my sword because I really wanted to kill him before the other guy managed to get over here on the fun, but well, as you can see, he didn't make his way over, so I'm going to drop down and lead them on a merry-go-round until I eventually manage to kill the first one before starting to wait for this guy to finish whatever he was doing over there and start killing him as well, of course. So after killing him, I'm going to head back down here because I want to go ahead and get some items which are behind the big lady, and I want to do so before I fight the big lady, but well, let's just say that it didn't exactly work out as I had intended, because I almost did die from whatever she did to me. So I started scrambling out of there to heal myself, after which I went ahead and decided I was just going to kill her. Failed the backstab once again, because I can never manage my backstabs against these things for some reason. I say as I get my backstab right here. So with all of that behind me, I start to head on over to the next bonfire, which is basically right after the big lady, and I'm going to take a quick break before going ahead to fight this guy to pick up the ashes that is guarding the paladin's ashes, which will allow me to buy something very important. Afterwards I scavenge around the place for a Titanite shard, which is always nice, as well as a random shield, which I don't care about, but I'm also going to use it as an excuse to plunge attack this guy. So after him is this room, which is really annoying because there's tons of archers and dogs all over the place. So as you can see, I've brought my grass crest shield because I wanted to be able to use it against the dogs to make the fight easier with them. So I start by getting shot at a couple of times, which is not pleasant, I gotta admit. But I do eventually kill the first dog before making my way on over to see the second one, but well, he doesn't want to come, so instead I just head on over and kill the archer and get guard broken by the dog before almost dying, but I do eventually manage to roll down where the dog decides to be a good boy and come to me, allowing me to kill him effortlessly. So after that I'm just going to go around and kill whatever's left of this place because well, the enemies are annoying and I want them out of here, so got stuck between a tree and a dog's place, but everything was fine in the end. Kill the guy and go ahead to pick up this soul item before waiting ahead for the dogs to come and eventually slapping them out of existence, both of them. So now that that's done, I'm going to finally head on over to the cathedral for real, for well, slapping this guy once. And I'm also going to kill these guys because I want the Estus shard that they're guarding. In the end I end up getting slapped around with a flaming sword, which is bad, but whatever. Anyway, here's my Estus shard, and heading on to the cathedral proper allows me to open this slow-ass door before finally reaching the bonfire that lies right beyond. You can see it over there in the distance, and there it is. So before I end this video for good, I'm going to take another trip to Firelink Shrine in order to do a couple of things I need to do before I leave. The first and most important probably is to give the paladin's ashes to the lady before selling all of my souls so I can afford what it is I want to buy. And that thing is the Lord's Shield Ring, which boosts your defense by something something percent when you're at max HP, which will prevent me from getting one shot later on in the game. So that's going to be very important. And I'm also going to reinforce my Estus Flask with Andre one last time before I head on over to the tower, where I'm going to be collecting a bunch of pointless stuff. So random item number 1 is up this elevator, which is, believe it or not, the Firekeeper soul right here, which I think is important for an ending maybe. I don't know, we'll see when we get there. I'm also gonna try to jump down here, which, well, you'll find out in a second, was a little less than optimal. So after dying a painful death, I'm gonna go ahead and see the Firekeeper lady so I can give her the soul. The Firekeeper soul, that is, which will allow me to heal the Dark Sigil, which is completely pointless because I have no Dark Sigil, but whatever. It's important for the story, I guess, so there's that. Anyway, that's going to be where I end it for today, so once again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, cool. If not, well, sorry, I tried my best. Bye!